Well, I did something I said I would never do. I sold the Tiger. Let's talk about why. So every time I went out to ride, I would find myself just completely ignoring the Tiger and hopping on the Triton. Now, the Triton's a great bike, don't get me wrong. So is the Tiger. But in my around town riding or commuting to work, the Tiger just seemed overly large and kind of unwieldy. That size helps on the highway with stability and all of that, but it just felt bulky for around town traffic, sitting at lights, so on and so forth. So I just didn't find myself riding it that often. It was great for my camping trips, anytime I was doing something long distance, a lot of highway miles, so on and so forth. But it just seemed a little bit lacking in all other areas. Now, some of you with a keen eye may have noticed that I'm on something else. This is a 2022 Triumph Bonneville T120, and I just bought it. I've been coveting the T120 for several years now, just as a really great all-arounder. It's extremely comfortable to ride. Seating position is relaxed and upright. The arms are not carrying all of the weight. It's all the things that the Tiger wasn't. I started looking around at some other options. I decided that it was kind of time for the Tiger to go, and I kept coming back to this T120. Now, just briefly, the reason I went the T120 over the T100 is the 6th gear. You know, if I'm going to be doing some highway miles, longer trips and things, that 6th gear, kind of like an overdrive for the highway, is going to come in handy. So that was the main determining factor of the T120 over the T100. Other than that, there are some other small differences between the two. I'm not going to get into that right now, but when it came down to it, I felt like this was going to be the best option for me. I did some looking around, and the panniers that I added to the Tiger, they make a rack system for this bike as well. So those GV Canyons that I put on the Tiger, I can easily put onto this bike. One of the great things I love about this bike is I can flat foot it. I'll talk more about that seat height here in a second, but it is super comfortable at stops as well. Anyway, so the panniers can easily go from the Tiger to this bike. New racks are only, you know, $100 or so, $200. So that was easy. No money lost there, really. I did leave the racks on the Tiger because there's no point in pulling them off. But I kept the bags, so that's not a purchase I had to make again. And I think this is going to be a great option for everything that I needed to do. Like I said, it's extremely comfortable. The engine is probably one of the smoothest engines that I've experienced. It's got that really nice 1200cc parallel twin, which is going to do great on the highway, and very torquey and fun around town. And it just sounds great. Speaking of highway, let's do a little and see how it does. Everything about this bike is stock, performance-wise, and I'm sitting at 71 70 miles an hour in 5th gear, just under 3,500 RPM. And I'm not getting any vibration in the bars. A little bit in the feet, but nothing in the bars. Let's pop it into 6th. That brings it down 70 miles an hour, right at 3,000 RPM. And this bike could do this all day long. I'll get tired before the bike does. I do prefer the naked bike look, no windscreen. But it does give you some air across the chest. One of the reasons I prefer no windscreen is I've experienced a lot of buffeting with windscreens, and I just prefer the air on the chest versus having to deal with that buffeting. So I didn't just buy this today. I've had it for maybe 2 weeks now. I did buy it used, and when I got it, it had some cafe bars on it. So I shot a little video before I swapped them out. Let me show you what those bars look like. Alright, so as I mentioned, when I bought this bike, it came with these cafe style bars, and you know, I kept going back and forth on it before I bought it. It's like, I could tolerate that for a little while, but I'm going to have to buy the stock bars at some point, because that's the riding position that I really want. And after riding around with these bars on here, I don't hate it. Obviously, it is a more aggressive riding style, riding position than the stock bars, but it's only slightly more leaned over than what I have on the Trident or any of the other kind of standard / naked bikes. You can sit up pretty easily if you need to stretch. It obviously makes it easy to tuck in, but I find that it does force me to put a lot of weight forward. Obviously, if you use your core and kind of control your upper body and hold the weight that way, it does take the pressure off. But when you're just cruising, it does kind of force you to put the weight forward. So it's comfortable for probably, 30 to 45 minutes. But any longer than that, I start to feel it in my wrists and in my back, because I'm leaned over a lot more than what I'm used to. So anyway, it's not awful, but definitely not the kind of riding that I want to do on this bike. So I'm gonna swap them out. Anyway, there's a clip of this. Back to the Future.
Next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
I did do a how-to video on how to swap the bars out. I'll be posting that soon. If it is posted, I'll put a link to it up here in the corner, so go check that out. Pretty simple job. Don't need a whole lot of expertise or tools. So as I mentioned in that video, the cafe bars made me put a lot of weight forward on the bike. With these stock bars that I put back on, it is very relaxed, very upright. I'm in a seated position. My feet are directly below my knees. This seat is super comfortable, so between the riding position, the rider triangle, at the seat, I could ride this thing all day long, no problem whatsoever. And as I'm riding around with these stock bars, the maneuverability and how well the bike dips into turns is already so much better with these stock bars. The bike felt very heavy, and like I had to, lumber it around into corners, and it wasn't as nimble as I remember when I did a test ride on one of these a long time ago. But I can tell you that these stock bars are definitely the way that this bike is supposed to ride. It's much more nimble. It probably has to do with, the body weight positioning and science.
Perhaps you mean a different thing than I do when you say science.
I don't know, but I can tell you that it feels so much more nimble with the stock bars and so much more comfortable. As I said, I had this for a couple of weeks. I put a few hundred miles on it. Some of that has been just around town. Some of that has been commuting to work. Some of it has been some longer trips. And I really have to nitpick to find something about this bike that I don't absolutely love. If I had to say one thing, it would be the tires. There have been some comments about the stock tires that are on this thing. Just aren't the greatest. And I've noticed that they don't inspire a whole lot of confidence when you're really digging into a turn. I have felt the back end slip out on me just a little bit, and I don't think it was because I was overdoing the throttle. So maybe down the road, once I kind of do some research and figure out what I want to do, I might swap the tires out. But don't get me wrong, they're functional, they're totally fine. Just I'm used to the super sticky Michelin Road 5s that I have on the Trident at this point. Those are some fantastic tires. I might even put those on here, even though they don't fit the aesthetic of the bike. This does have spoked rims on it, so that might be a consideration as I'm looking for some different tires to put on. I will need tubes because of the spokes. I'm going to find a parking lot to dip into real quick and give you a walk around on the bike once I get through some of this traffic. Alright, so let's do a quick walk around of the bike. As I said before, this is the 2022 Triumph Bonneville T120. I went back and forth in my mind about getting the T120 black because I think it looks really, really good. But when I thought about how my Trident is completely blacked out, I don't think that I wanted the other bike to be completely blacked out either. So when I saw this blue and silver colorway, I absolutely fell in love. Now, I've also heard that Triumph still hand paints the pinstripes on these tanks. And the way that you can find out if yours is hand painted is there will be some initials underneath the seat here. So let's find out. Yep, looks like MK. So my tank is one of the ones with the hand painted pinstripes. So thank you, MK. It looks absolutely fantastic. Now, I've already done a couple of things to this bike. I already talked about replacing the handlebars to the stock configuration. I've put on the shorty adjustable levers that I have put on pretty much every bike. I absolutely love having the shorty adjustable levers. Of course, I added my quad lock so that I could have my phone mount. And I added this rear grab rail and helmet lock. Once I get in the mounts for the GV Canyon bags, they will attach here, and I'm pretty sure down here on the foot peg and maybe up here by the rear shock. It's kind of just sits right here, and those GV Canyons will just click right into place. And not only is that going to be a super simple upgrade to get this kind of back to Tiger status, but I think it's going to really fit the aesthetic of the bike. I just absolutely love how these bodies look. That's probably all I'm going to do to it, because other than that, it's already in great shape. Let's get back on the road. Sounds so good. Anyway, that's pretty much it for today's video. Just a brief little introduction to the bike. Once I do a little bit more riding on it, I'm going to do a proper review. But this is just an announcement that I can't believe that I actually got rid of my Tiger. But I can't tell you how excited I am to put lots of miles on this thing, do some trips, some camping, so on and so forth. Really excited. So tell me what you think. I'd be interested to know. Do you have a T120? What kind of stuff have you done to it? How much do you like it? Let's start that conversation in the comments. Thanks for stopping by. I will see you on the next one. Keep the shiny side up.